All right, shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, all honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, who also taught us this 100% truth. Shalom to the whole elect. I'm the brother Kasada back with another quick lesson. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. And this is just a part 2 of the breakdown of Revelation chapter 6. And we're just going to pick up where we were left off, which is Revelation 6 and verse 6. And it says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And ultimately, with the a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, things will seem like it's fine. You know, food seems like it's affordable. You know, everything seems like it's great. You know, but it's going to come a time where society is going to collapse. All right. Things aren't going to be as great, man. You know, matter of fact, going into Matthew chapter 24 is a good example. Another one is 2nd Ezra. Matter of fact, let's grab that. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 16 in verse 17. Okay? And it says, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? Yeah, going into Jeremiah chapter 30, Jacob's trouble. You know, things are going to get bad. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings and beginning of famine and great death and the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. In the beginning of evils, what shall I do when the evils shall come? Yeah, man, it's going to get bad, man. All right, and even so much so that Ezra saw it. It says, behold, famine and plagues, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Yeah, man, so things are going to get really, really bad, man. All right. Things are going to get really, really hectic. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap, see, upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Yeah, it's going to come a very, very heavy time. Things are going to get really, really bad, man. All right. But verse 21 is the main point. It says, behold, the victuals shall be good, so good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Yeah, which people, you know, I would say at this point, you know, at the time that we're in now, which is what, November the 27th, all right, hey, Esau took away Snap. So things aren't so great right now. Victuals aren't looking so good, cheap right now. And this is how you know that we're at the end. This is how you know things are getting bad. This is the beginning of the sorrows, man. All right. Let's get 2nd Ezra 15. And I want to grab verse 7. All right. Because, hey, things are going to get really, really bad. It says, therefore, saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. Yeah, the Lord ain't holding back no more, man. He's about to really cut loose, in which he's starting, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them to do them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Yeah, the going into those men that were in the truth, that are in the truth, that died in this truth. All right, doing the work in the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, they continue to cry unto Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. You know, complaining when the Lord is going to step in. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which Egypt is symbolic for the house of bondage, all right, which is aka America, man. Aka America is our house of bondage, man, which we went into captivity under the damn devil, man. All right. It says, I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it, which we read in Second Ezra chapter 16 and verse 16 and 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here we go. Which we read already. But just going back to that same verse in Revelation chapter 6, in verse 6, just jumping down, it says, and see thou hurt not the oil in the wine, all right, in which the oil is ultimately the scriptures. Matter of fact, let's get that Matthew 25 and 1, all right. It says, and then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. All right, which is this truth, man. All right, which is the scriptures, which is the understanding. All right, that's what the oil is, man. You know? All right. So we get that part. All right. So ultimately, man, we see, all right, hey, you know, the elect. All right, the Lord is going to protect the elect, those who are still here. You know, of course, you're going to, as I just mentioned, you're going to have some of the elect that's already in, you know, up there with the Heavenly Father and Yahweh Shah. All right. But, hey, the rest of the elect who's left here is going to be protected. All right. All right. So that we understand what that is. Okay. All right. So I want to grab another quick scripture. You know, I don't want to try to make this too long. I really be trying to make this quick. But if the Spirit, you know, has it where, in Salakia, nah, it's acting crazy. All right. I want to get Proverbs 21 and verse 20. There is treasures to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. See, and this is what's going to happen to a lot of these Israelites, man, misusing this truth, man. And you got a lot of Israelites who's switching up the truth, man. You know, he that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness and honor. A wise man scaleth the city of the mighty and casteth down the strength of the confidence thereof. Yeah, man. So with this truth, man, this is what we're doing ultimately through the Spirit. All right. All right. So, hey, the oil is with the wise, man. All right. And who's the wise? Those who, well, ultimately, I'm going to just put it like this. The elect. The elect is the wise, man. Let's grab one more precept for that. Isaiah 33 and 6. And it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. In strength of salvation, Yahweh, the fear of Yahweh is his treasure. Yeah, and as we understand in Proverbs chapter 1, it tells you that knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is the fear of Yahweh. It begins with the fear of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. Matter of fact, let me grab that because I butchered it. But, all right, here it is. Verse 2, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give stability to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel, to understand proverb and the interpretations, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge. But fools despise wisdom and instruction. Those who cast out, who didn't bring the oil, man, because you really don't fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, you really don't fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And those who has the oil or the wine, all right, which is the elect, are going to be protected in that day, man. All right, they're the ones that's not going to be hurt. All right, so let's continue on. Go ahead and get in verse 7. All right, and it says, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." Salaki, this is acting crazy, man. It's Satan. All right. Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, all right, to kill the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Yeah, in which we went into whose blessing was the sword in the first video. But hey, man, this is pretty much the point. Really just sums up that pale horse, okay? In which, hey, things are gonna only get worse, man. Things are gonna get bad, man. All right, which we read in 2nd Esdras 15 and 16. All right, 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and 2nd Esdras chapter 16. All right, which we know that, hey, things are gonna get really, really bad. So if you go into death, all right, death goes into Thantos, which means death of the body. All right. And hell just means the grave, all right, which is ultimately the dirt, all right, which we're going to grab. Let me grab that real quick, so you can see for yourself. All right, let's grab hell, which is Hades. It says the name of Hades, of course, neither the other realm, which, that's off. All right, later use of this word grave, death, hell, all right, which is the main point is the grave. It's the dirt, all right. That's the point, all right. All right. So ultimately, we see what this is. We know what's going on, man. All right. And that's why you can't, get too much into, because Esau like to throw misinformation, man. These are Greek, Hades and all that Pluto stuff. That's all Greek stuff, man. All right. That we are the Hebrew Israelites. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai are Hebrew Israelites, man. They, that's completely fables, man. All right, matter of fact, I want to grab something real quick and get 1 Timothy's 1 and 4. All right, and it says, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies which minister questions rather than godly edifying, which is in the faith, so do. See? All right, so, hey, man, Esau, he really tried to throw monkey wrenches in there, man, to confuse the people, man. Here it is. You believe that there's a man with a pitchfork, all right, in the center of the earth, and you go there and you burn for eternity, man. That ain't what it is, all right? You'll never find that in the scriptures, man. Though there's no such thing, man, as a man in a red jumpsuit or a suit with a pitchfork, man. You won't find that in the scriptures, man. All right, that's something that Esau has ultimately came up with on his own, man. All right, so let's grab another quick precept. This is Revelation chapter 20 and verse 14. All right, and it says, "And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death." So make that make sense. How is it that this place is cast into the lake of fire? And what is this lake of fire? It's those ICBM missiles, man, which ultimately hell, which is a different lesson for a different day or a different topic for a different day. Hell is the conditions that we deal with, man. Having to worry about sickness and these bills and having our enemies above us, man, and all this sodomy and things of that sort, man. Yeah, this is hell, man. All right. And all these things, all right, will be cast into that lake of fire, which is those ICBM missiles, man. All right. So we know, all right, what's actually going on, man. All right. Let me grab one more. Isaiah 14 in verse 9. And it says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from the throne all the kings of the nation. Yeah, and once again, that hell that is going into, what you're going to see, all right, Sheol, which means underworld, world, grave, pit, all right, Sheol, all right, wicked, sent there for punishment, which is ultimately just death, man, you know. And here it is, Esau mixing in, you know, all the other stuff, Sheol, all right, Iqar, bar, beg, all right, this is just the root word, all right, but that was the point, really. That was the point, okay? Going back to Revelation chapter 6, in verse 7, all right, or verse 8, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was death and hell, all right, followed him with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth, which we went into in 2nd Ezra 15, chapter 15, and 2nd Ezra chapter 16, okay? And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High and for the testimony which they held. Going back into 2nd Ezra chapter 16, okay? Which we read that, you know, those pleading to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, man. All right, those who are that are in the truth, who died in the truth, man. All right, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, doest thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth, and white robes given unto every one of them, and it was in which white, you know, it's just another form of purity, man. You know, all right." So, hey, this is the elect, okay? That they should rest for a little season, all right, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled, all right? And I beheld, and when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Salakia. Yeah, so things are going to get really, really bad, man. All right. This is when things really going to turn up, man. All right. After that sixth seal, that seventh seal, things are going to get even worse, man. Things ain't going to get any better. All right. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs. Yeah, and those being, you know, those idols of the world, you know, your celebrities, these people that you Israelites look up to, that the people of the world look up to, they're gonna come down, man. It's gonna be a time where they're gonna come it's gonna come down, man. All right. And those lofty, Esau in his lofty position, all right. And it says, when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and ultimately going into those ICBM missiles, all right, which we're going to continue on, all right, and it says, and the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Yeah, the scroll going to the mushroom cloud, which, matter of fact, let's go ahead and grab that, Isaiah 34. Let's get Isaiah 34 real quick. I'm going to start at verse 2. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Yeah, see, the mountains going into governments, all right, going into these governing bodies, these kingdoms, all right. The Lord is about to hew them down, man, all right. All right, in which we all understand, hey, this place is about to be brought down, man. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falls off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. That sword going into those ICBM missiles, which we went into in part 1, all right, in Revelation chapter 6, and shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment, all right. It says, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with the fatness and the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidney of rams. For Yahweh have sacrificed in Basra and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. All right. So which is the capital. Idumea is just another form or capital of, of Esau land, But hey, the Lord is really about to burn this place up, man. Okay. Going back to Revelation chapter 6 and all right. And 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll. We read that. In every mountain, verse 15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens, in the rocks of the mountains. Yeah, going into these politicians, these high position people, these high Edomites, all right. They're going to go and hide themselves. But ultimately, man, we understand that the elect, these are the same ones that are going to go into captivity. All right. These Edomites that are going to go into captivity, man. All right. So we know that, man. All right. Only the elect are the ones that's going to be standing in the last days. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, which is Yahweh Shai. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Yeah, things are going to only get worse, man. Things are only going to get bad, all right? In which I want to grab a quick precept, Revelation chapter 15. In verse 1, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels in the 7 last plagues. All right. For in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were the sea of glass mingled with fire. All right. In which this is where the elect is going to watch the destruction of Babylon the Great, aka America. And them that had, Salaki, it's acting crazy right now. It says, man, I hate that it's doing this. Having servants, it says, what was I? Verse 1. It says, and I saw another sign in heaven, and great and marvelous 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up with the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were the sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High, in which the harps is ultimately the truth, man. It's the truth. All right. The firmament is Salakia. The sea glass is the firmament or the ozone layer, which they're going to watch the destruction, man. The elect is going to watch the destruction, man. They're going to be caught up with the other elect who passed away in this truth, man. All right. They're going to watch the destruction of this place, man. They're going to be the only ones who's going to stand or make it in those last days, man. All right, or make it through these ICBM missiles, man. And if anybody survive in those bunkers, which they will, all right, in those last days, they're going into captivity, man. They're going into slavery, which the scriptures talks about, and which that's a different lesson for a different day. But I just wanted to get into the lesson, man. Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.